Well, hello, hello. How are y'all doing today? Hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend. It's so pretty in Texas today. How you doing, Sprinkle?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I know I decided to jump on here and do this today because we were kind of talking this morning. I thought, you know what, that's interesting to talk about. When you have men who will defend their wives, that she could not have done this, it is not her, something is wrong, etc. And then it is her. But then what happens to the men? Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of something
Yeah.
we're going to talk about today. I mean,
I
it
mean,
is
this
a
goes way
very
back. It goes way back, Susan Smith. I mean, this goes way back, many, many years.
what I did was I picked out let me get over here my little script thing that I have. I had to rewrite it several times, so and do it in a hurry. So we have 6 verified cases where a husband defended his wife after she killed their children. But then what did he do? What happens next? But then there's the other side of all of it. After it's all said and done, when the husband and the wife decide to go file a lawsuit against somebody else, blaming them for wrongful death. It happens, and it happens more than you would believe, people. Which is, I know it's shocking. I know it is, but it is a true phenomenon that happens because they can't take responsible for their own doings, can they? Because that's what it seems like, right? So let me get my disclaimer over here. Let's go ahead and get that done for our fair use disclaimer. I'm sorry if you can hear the noise in my kitchen. My husband is home today. So let me pull this up and we will get going. I know we didn't really announce it because I wasn't sure I was even going to go live. I was kind of contemplating it. I just couldn't decide. Okay, let me get my fair use up and we'll get on to that. Okay. This content is created for purposes of commentary, criticism, education, news, reporting, and discussions under Section 107 of the Copyright Act. All photos, videos, and documents and other materials used belong to their respective copyright owners. This channel does not claim ownership of third-party content. The purpose of this program is to provide analysis, discussion, and public interest. Commentary and any use of copyrighted material is intended to be transformative and falls under fair use. So there you go. That is it. Now, let me turn this down over here and get the rest of my things together, and we will get started on this. Now, we know that there's a very high-profile case that's going on right now, and we are going to talk about that case, to be honest with you, because I think we need to, because there's a lot of components. Hey, Cinderella, so good to see you, girl. How you doing? I know I haven't been live in days. I've just been having a little bit of a, I'll be honest with you, I've been a little bit depressed, just a little bit depressed. But today I decided, well, we're going to get it together and we're going to get this going. We're going to talk about it. So glad to see you. Today we're going to start with the case that starts on Monday, this Lindsay Clancy case. Now, remember when this first happened, Lindsay and Patrick Clancy, he stood behind her. There's no way that she could have done this. She was not herself. All these different things were going on. I do remember the very beginning of this. And so Patrick says yes, he defended her publicly, forgave her, and blamed it on postpartum psychosis. Now, that's not exactly what Massachusetts government says, but okay, that's okay. He was going to stand behind him. But see, where is he today? Well, I can tell you right now, he's not standing behind her. He is remarried. Now, he has remarried, and he is married to a doctor, and they live in New York. So how long did he actually stand behind her? Think about that for just a moment. Because there's so many of them that they start out like that, but they don't end up like that. I mean, look at Andrea and Rusty Yates. That's another one of these cases. He defended her. Something was so mentally ill with her. Something was wrong. There's no way. He supported her insanity defense. Guess what? He's remarried and has another child. Now, another one of these cases, and this is a wild one, which this one is out of Wyoming. It's Tranyelle and Cliff Harshman out of Wyoming from 2018. Now, I know you probably have never heard of this case, but it's just one that I found, and I thought, you know what? This one kind of fits what we need to talk about. Her husband, he just left, relocated out of state, and nobody can seem to find him, which is strange, but okay. Then there's Megan and Stephen Huntsman from Utah in 2014. Now, Megan Huntsman, I don't know if you've heard of this case, but we're going to look at each different one of them. Megan Huntsman had 6 newborn infants that she killed by strangulation. Now, Stephen said she struggled with addiction and mental illness. And he's another one of these that has just kind of disappeared. Then there's Dena and Michael Schlosser. This is out of Texas from 2004. I had forgotten all about this one. Hang on just a second. Let me shut the door. Hang on, I gotta shut the door. Come on, let's go. I gotta get all the baby dogs out of here. Go see daddy. Go see daddy. There you go. All right. Now this was out of Texas, and I want to tell you right now, you need to let me give you a warning, please, because this is horrific. And she killed her 10-month-old daughter by amputation.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrific one, and it has a lot of warnings with it. Michael testified she was severely psychotic and influenced by religious extremism. Okay. And again, he's another one. He's stuck in there for a while, but then he remarried. Here's one that I'm sure you have never heard of this one either. This is Julie and Mark Schnecker out of Florida from 2011. She shot both of her teenage children. Mark stated she had a long-term psychiatric illness and asked for compassion. Mark continues working with the military and consulting and avoids media. Now, every one of these cases has something just a little bit different about it, but 3 out of the 6 filed wrongful death suits against drug makers, and think against what they consider what made these women do this, even though they're not married anymore. You know, they get all of these things. Then they go back and file these lawsuits. Just like, look at Harmony Montgomery. Look what her mother did. Filed that wrongful death suit but remember, in her case, she asked the court to give Harmony to this man. She asked for that because she didn't want her in the system. And then he ends up taking her life. And then she files a wrongful death lawsuit. Does that make any sense? No, it does not to me. But it's out there, and it happens every damn day. It's so many of these things we don't know about, but they're out there, and it's shocking. It's disgusting. I mean, there are so many of these cases that we know about. This morning, when myself and Sprinkle were talking about this, we were naming all kinds of different cases where we've seen this happen. Not exactly these cases, but other cases. So anyway, now let's go over here. We're going to pull up some of the step courts. Oh, come on, refresh. Let me pull this up from Massachusetts. Okay. Well, it's not going to. Let's take a really quick look at Lindsay Clancy. I'm going to go to YouTube and pull up some of her information. Oops. Now, her case is supposed to start, I believe, tomorrow. And I thought about seeing if I could live stream it, but I don't know if I can. I've never live streamed all day long like that. So anyway, let's pull her up. Lindsay Clancy. Let's see what's going on next. Let's go to Court TV. This is from 1 day ago, and this is going to be full credit to Court TV. And it's opening statements that approach in the trial of Lindsay Clancy. Here we go. I'm going to give full credit to Court TV. We pull this up, and then we'll be able to share our screen. Okay, here we go. Oh, I see this damn shift button's not wanting to work right again. I know it's on and off with this damn computer. I don't know what makes this happen. I really don't. But let me share my screen, and we'll get going. Okay, and this is going to be used under fair use from Court TV. So let me make it bigger, and away we go. All right. And this is Benny Politan talk.
Couple raising a family in Duxbury, Massachusetts, living in a wonderful house in a wonderful town. But everything that was so good in their lives was destroyed on January 24th, 2023. That's when Lindsay sent her husband to pick up dinner. She then killed her 3 children, exited a second-floor window, and ended up paralyzed.
I know we've talked about this case many times before. I know we have. And I've always kind of thought to myself, well, there's some sort of premeditation to it. But then we have experts telling us, no, there was no premeditation to it. that basically what she heard, and I don't know if I believe this or not, but what she heard in her head was him going to get this food was her last opportunity to take the kids out and take herself out. Do I believe it? I don't know. What do you think, Sprinkle?
I don't know. That's a hard one because she sent him away. You
Right.
know, if she was having an episode, she would have done it regardless if he was there or not there.
See, and that's the thing. Most of what I understand about psychosis is, or which is kind of what they're trying to blame this on, some kind of mental illness. I mean, that they don't even know that they're having this. It's like they don't know to make any kind of premeditation, right? They're just having this and they just do whatever it is they're going to do. Now, I can't relate
Right.
to it because I've never been mentally ill, so I don't know how to relate to this. So I don't know how I feel about her. We'll let this
Well,
play.
it was a
Go ahead.
it was a damn convenience, if nothing else, that she chose to send him away while she did it. You know, that was a coincidence.
But see, was that's the thing, was it?
That,
I cannot get this out of
that's
my
what I'm
mind.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that with sarcasm.
Right. Okay. Well, let's let this play a little bit.
She strangled the kids to unconsciousness and then keeps strangling them for additional minutes.
Now Lindsay is on trial charged with 3 counts of murder, facing life in prison. But even though she admittedly did it, she does not believe she should be held criminally responsible.
As to postpartum depression, psychosis, the concerns and the fear that a woman has. But a woman who has suffered and has put up with this affliction.
Lindsay's documented history of recent mental illness will make this a very difficult case for the jury. And now we get ready for opening statements as the trial of Lindsay Clancy gets set to begin. This is the biggest trial of the summer, and 12 citizens who got that notice in the mail will sit in the box and make the decision. A decision.
I'll tell you what, we're going to talk about this for just a second, then we'll go back to it. Hey, Carol Browser, how you doing, girl? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. We always appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you here. Hey, we're just talking about, when men defend women who kill their children, and then what happens, right? So, I feel so sorry for the people who are chose to be on that jury, because what they are going to see are things that's going to haunt them for the rest of their life. What they're going to hear are things that's going to be in their mind for the rest of their lives. It is so hard to imagine being a juror on a trial like that when you're talking about 3 babies. We do know that one of the babies lasted for a few days and then passed away. That
Yeah,
kind
the
of thing
littlest
makes
one.
it, yeah, that
The
makes
littlest
it
one,
even
right?
harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I just,
No, I can't. Just hearing everything would be one thing, but then when they throw up the photos, the before, the autopsy photos, the crime scene photos, that would just kill me. I don't know that I could do it.
in this particular case, it's not gonna be a lot of gore. And let me give a trigger warning, because some of these things are going to include gore that we're talking about today. But it is still children, little children.
Right.
And
Right.
and good God. Good God is all I can say. Let's keep watching.
Involving incredibly defenseless victims. But will this jury feel any sympathy towards Lindsay Clancy, the woman accused of their murder? I'm Vinnie Politan. Let's investigate.
She looks completely different.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
She looks completely different, like a totally
Yeah.
different person.
Cinderella says, in my opinion, I would make my incarceration, remembering what I did, I would punish myself forever. I think so too. I mean, I don't know how she can sit there and think that she should not be held responsible. She did the action. Yeah, and I know she's paralyzed now. I know she's in a wheelchair, but let me tell you, there are people in prisons all over the place in a wheelchair. So I don't
Yeah,
want
well,
to hear that as an excuse.
she's alive. At the end of the day,
Right.
she's alive. Her babies
Right.
are not.
Mhm.
And they died at her hands.
And she knows she did it. See, that's the thing. If you were in a psychosis, you would have no memory of what happened here. But she knows what she did.
Yeah.
So this is what makes it hard to believe. Okay, we'll keep watching. I've always liked Benny.
Cases of legal insanity were drastically changed in the way they were perceived by jurors, the way they were perceived by prosecutors after the shooting of President Ronald Reagan. It was John Hinckley Jr. who was found not guilty by reason of insanity, and that changed everything. I mean, prosecutors were much less likely to offer that sort of a deal to a defendant.
Okay, I'm going to stop this for just a second, because one thing we need to talk about is insanity. By reason of insanity. Remember, Letitia Stout changed her plea to guilty by insanity. Remember, she did. So her whole trial was really about, was she insane or not insane? Remember? And this is kind of what's going to happen over here in this case too, but we'll let Benny keep talking. I just wanted to remind y'all of that is exactly what she tried.
Well,
And
Letitia turned it
much
into
less likely to accept it.
Hang on. Now go ahead.
Letitia turned it into from a reason to an excuse.
Right.
And
But see, don't they all?
There's a big difference between that, because I have heard that people on different things and random different things that I've heard where judges have stated, when a person was legally insane at the time of their crime, afterward, they are filled with so much remorse that they can hardly live with themselves because of what they've done. So when they see people after the fact, like Letitia, who doesn't show that remorse, it kind of takes that from being a reason to an excuse for the crime.
Right. Now, Carol Browser says, those babies, I don't know if I could let her free ever. Right. And and you're supposed to go in and not have any biased feelings at all. You're supposed to listen to the evidence, right? And then Cinderella goes, she deserves some kind of punishment. When she jumped out the window, it made it premeditated to me. Yes. And I can agree with Cinderella on that. Yes. Yeah. Because
absolutely.
I mean,
she knew what she was doing at that time. She knew she was trying to kill herself, so she obviously knew what she did. So if she was in psychosis, she wouldn't have realized exactly at that point what she had done.
Now she's
the way I look at it.
She is saying that there was a male voice telling her to do this. This is what she's telling everybody. Was there?
Yeah,
that's something we're never going to know. Yeah.
Was he telling her to jump out the window too, or just kill her babies?
No, just all of it. Take the babies, jump out the window. Now, let me ask y'all something. Do you honestly believe that if you jump out of a second-story home window, it's going to kill you? Do you believe that? I mean, I guess maybe it's a possibility, but
maybe if you dove,
right,
and didn't put your hands out and landed right on your head, so it would break your neck and kill you. Yes, but if you're jumping, no, what's gonna happen is exactly what happened to her.
Right. Now, a 3-story building would be different, I believe, but 2 stories. Okay, let's listen to Benny for a minute.
Because here's a man who attempted to assassinate a sitting president, and he was found not guilty. By the way, John Hinckley Jr. is a free man today in Virginia. So from that point forward, it became much more difficult for defendants claiming legal insanity to be found not guilty by reason of insanity by a jury. Andrea Yates, probably the highest profile case, actually took her 2 trials to get that verdict. Originally, she was found guilty. That was overturned. It was retried. And eventually a jury found her not guilty by reason of insanity. But that's the one you think of, right? How many more are there? Not many. This case involving Lindsay Clancy is a little different because her husband, Patrick, doesn't blame her for what happened.
Unbelievable.
Think about that for a second. It's his children who were taken. He was the one who was sent out of the house. He was the one that was allegedly duped by Lindsay. to not be there so she could commit this mass killing of their children in a brutal, brutal fashion. But he does not blame her. He blames the illness. He blames the medication, the lack of care from the health providers, but he's not blaming his own wife. And that's huge. That's huge.
Okay, so if he's not blaming his own wife, and he says he forgave her, all that. If he's not blaming her, why did he divorce her, go marry somebody else, and now have children, another child?
Exactly.
That sends a different picture to me. I mean, if you don't blame her, you forgive her. Why are you divorced from her, married, and have more children?
Yeah. Stand behind her until the trial's over. And then, I mean, I can see, like, if she's going to go, he stands behind her. She's found guilty. She's convicted and sent to prison for the rest of her life. I could see at one point possibly not wanting to stay married and wanting to move on with your life and have a sense of normalcy. I can see that. But at least if you really do believe it, stand by her until the trial is over.
See, that
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
what I would think. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I would think. Now,
And
Carol
then,
Bronson,
you hit that one point where you're like, I have to have a normal life. You're going to be in jail forever. So I'm sorry. I just have to divorce you and move on. I get that.
right. Carol
But
says
not,
exactly.
yeah,
I mean, I don't believe
know.
what he's saying. I just don't believe that he truly forgives her. I believe that there's some part, and we know that when you get into cases like this, and this is a extremely difficult place to be, I would believe, for the husbands of these women, because this is their wife. This is the person they thought they were going to spend the rest of their life with. They have children. They have family. There's a bunch of people involved in all of this. And he's caught between the rock and the hard spot at first because, well, that's your wife, but she took your children's lives, but that's your wife. I mean, it's just, hey there, Kimmy, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, this is kind of a listening. We're not going to be showing a lot of videos. We're really just having a big discussion on what happens in these situations and what happens to the men who at first try to be there. They just try to be there. Well, remember Al Stouch. At first, he didn't want to believe that she killed Gannon. He didn't want to believe that at all. But when there was no other option except for her, he had to accept the fact. But let me ask y'all another question, because this is something I thought about as well. What red flag did any of these people miss that something was so terribly wrong within that household that a woman could do that? That's another question I have about this, because they don't just wake up one day. Look, Letitia Stout did not just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to go take Gannon's life. She didn't just wake up one day and decide to do that. There was some ongoing situation in that home that caused that. Do we know everything? No. Will we ever know everything? No, we won't. No matter how many times she's tried, we will just never know everything that went on in that house. But,
I think Al came to the realization quickly, though. I think that soon as Gannon was missing and he didn't come home, I think all of those red flags really began to play in Al's ear. Like the kids, telling him or telling mom, I can't even think of her name right now, how Letitia was mean to them and how she had done these things. I think it clicked to him real quick. I don't even think it was probably a week or two before he had the inclination that it was her. Unlike these men who seem to be living in a plastic bag or a brown paper bag where they have these blinders over their eyes, where none of them have really ever said, well, I saw this, that I've heard. Now they might have said it. Well, I saw this happening. I saw this happening. This makes me wonder. I haven't heard these reactions after the fact from a lot of these men.
Right.
Even what's her face, the one we talked about earlier, the two ladies, and she didn't kill them, but she's in prison now. They had that ministry. They had like the 5
Ministry.
kids. Yeah, they had the little ministry, and they were abusing the kids, and the kids ran to the next door neighbors, and they found them, and now they're both in jail. What the hell's their name?
I don't
It
know.
just happened. It just happened. There's a Netflix special on those 2 women. They were blonde. She does 8 Passengers lady. What
Frankie
the hell's
case.
her name?
Frankie case.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
that one. All right. All right. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, she didn't kill those kids, but had that continued, those kids would have been dead.
Oh,
That
I
was
believe
only
that
a
100%.
that was a matter of time before those children were dead. But even excuse me, even that husband who's now remarried and I believe has another child, he
is
didn't even
remarried.
he didn't even see the all the red flags that happened, her moving the other crazy woman into the house and her not allowing him in the house and her not allowing him to see those kids for a year. He never even seemed to, anything that I've read, have any concern for the well-being of his children. And I don't understand that. Like, how could you not? How do you not?
Brainwashed?
Do you have that much? Is love that blinding? Is it really that blinding?
I don't know. I mean, I cannot even imagine this. Now, Cinderella says that she really don't want to judge him. If my man had done this, I would just want to forget what my partner did. I don't know. Maybe she duped him somehow. And then Kimmy goes, she's thinking we're talking about the Tarpon case. And then Carol says, too many cases involving children is exactly right. Why are the children always the victims? If you are so unhappy, just leave. Leave your children with their dad. Don't do this. Go get help. But then you're like, well, if it's a psychosis, they don't know they need help, right? Let's keep listening to Vinny for a second because he's bringing up some interesting points about this type of thing.
Huge. And if that message is received by the jury, now obviously he can't tell the jury what to do, but if he testifies in a way that sends a message to the jury, that could be very persuasive. Because what will the jury do here in this case? There's a documented history of mental illness for Lindsay Clancy, very recent to the time of the killings of her 3 children. Yet, you don't like to utter those words, not guilty. But if the defendant's own husband gives them permission by the way he testifies, what he says, and what the jury hears from the person who is impacted more than anyone by this case, then the jury could do it. But the question still lingers, like, what are they going to do with this case? And who are these people that are sitting in judgment of Lindsay Clancy? To get some answers, let's go to the courthouse in Plymouth County, Massachusetts, where Sierra Gillespie joins us. She's the host of Law and Crime's Scandal. Okay, Sierra, you're at the courthouse. You're in the...
You're right. You're absolutely right, Carol. Everyone blaming mental health. Is it mental health? Or is it something else? I mean, how can mental health be blamed so many times when somebody takes the life of somebody else or the life of their children, for God's sake? How can everybody be mentally ill? What's in the damn water, right? I mean, what's going on here?
And I don't know. Maybe I'm totally off base on this because I've never experienced postpartum depression. I don't know anything about it. Can postpartum depression actually be considered being mentally ill? Because postpartum depression, you can come out of. Mental illness, for the most part, if you're mentally ill, you can't come out of that. You know what I'm saying? You can be you can be medicated and you can be helped to control your symptoms. But once you're mentally ill, it's not like, okay, in 6 months, you're going to be fine. Postpartum, there's an end to it. Postpartum doesn't last indefinitely. So can we consider postpartum a mental illness? My opinion is no.
Well, let me tell you what is stated out here in the world of knowledge knows everything. There's a typical timeline for postpartum depression. It can last anywhere from several months to 3 years if left untreated. Okay, so usually it starts within the first week to the 3 weeks. Without treatment, it often lasts for many months or can persist up to 3 years. With treatment, improvement often begins within a few weeks, starting therapy and medication. So yeah, you don't. Okay, so
it is infinite. There is an end to it.
Yeah. Well, there is up to 3 years, it says,
Yeah.
without any kind of medications. But Carol says, Carol's agreeing with us, and then Cinderella says, you do not punish kids by withholding food and water. You're right. You don't punish the kids. You don't punish the kids. You're damn right.
That's a choice.
That is a choice. I mean, look at the Ohio 16 right now. Look what's going on there right now. Now Gary Jr.'s over there claiming that he might not be fit for trial, right? Everybody's trying to make Elizabeth a victim. Elizabeth is not a victim. She knew exactly what she's doing. Now, I talked about this the other day. It's a type of illness. It's a type of mental illness that goes with something else, where these people enjoy being pregnant. They have the babies, but once the baby's no longer really dependent on them, but we know children are always dependent on their parents, that this is where there's a disconnect of some sort. They discard them. They don't care about it anymore because they're pregnant again. They just want to be pregnant. They just enjoy being pregnant. They want to have the baby, but not be responsible.
Yeah.
So we talked about that the other day too. So yeah, I wonder if you know what, is it environmental? It could be. I do wonder about that, Tammy, because if you think about things from 50 years ago, and then you think about things today, or is it because it always went on, but now we have social media that brings all these things to us? So that's the thing else I always wondered about. Thank you for bringing that up. It's an important question. Let's listen to Benny. Thank you, guys. I really think this is so interesting.
Middle of it all, what is the latest?
Well, let me tell you, Vinny, this morning we had a huge surprise in the courtroom. I woke up thinking, okay, we're so close. We're one juror away from this 18-panel jury being seated. And in fact, 2 jurors were dismissed pretty much right away at the top of the day. So all of a sudden we're out 3 jurors right away in the morning. I spoke to the defense attorney and he said, honestly, I don't even know if we're going to finish jury selection today. It might trickle into tomorrow, meaning openings would then be Monday. I mean, it's still TBD at the time of this recording, but I will tell you just moments ago when I rushed out here to do this interview with you, 1 more juror was seated. So that brings us up to 16 people who have been seated. Now, this most recent juror was a woman. She's in her 60s, looks almost of the retiree age. So maybe a mother, maybe even possibly a grandmother potentially here. I wasn't able to hear exactly what she was saying when she was conferencing with the Commonwealth and the judge. The defense didn't have any questions for her, though. They agreed right away she should be seated. She was seated in juror position, the box number 2, because if you recall, that juror asked to be removed from the jury on day 2 or 3 of jury selection. It's all kind of coming together. It's blurring together, but it seems like hopefully we'll have a jury seated by the end of the day.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're so close, and then all of a sudden, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So how would you describe the atmosphere today as we get closer and closer to these opening statements?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move past part of this because there's so many other cases we want to talk about when it comes to these women. You're making dinner. Okay, good. There's so many of these other cases that I want to talk about because it's not just her. There are many of these that happen. So we're going to move past this, and we're going to just talk for a minute about, because we know that the jury is a problem here. I would have been asked to be removed as well. There's no way I would have sat there on that jury. I couldn't. Let's go ahead on. Now we talked about the fact that now they're talking about the husband testifying. Well, he's not married to her anymore. Now, if he gets on the stand, what's he going to say, and how's that going to affect the case? It's going to affect the case because you're going to have these jurors going out. But wait a minute, right? And they do it all the time. You said you forgave her, but then you divorced her and you got remarried. So, I mean, I wonder if any juror is going to think like I think and not be able to say, okay, wait a minute, I can't send this woman to prison. I just think there's going to be I think it's going to be torn. I think you're going to have some jurors that can and some jurors that can't, because then there's the wheelchair problem. I mean, what are they going to do about that? that I just think that we're going to have in the end, I think we're going to have a hung jury in this case. Don't know, but I think it'll be so interesting to watch the rest of it. But for time, we've already been on 35 minutes. I've got 6 different cases I want to talk about. So let's move on to the next one. And that is going to be Andrea and Rusty Yates. Remember that case? Now, this happened in the year 2001 in Houston, Texas. Now, what's weird about this case is Rusty Yates. I mean, he worked for the Space Center over there. It was not a money problem. Just so many different things happened in this case, and he stood behind her. Now, she's the woman that drowned all 5 of her children in the bathtub. I know it's a rather old case, but
I can't believe that was 25 years ago.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Now, I'll tell you, he did later on, he divorced her, and then he divorced, okay, so he got remarried, and then he divorced that person too, but he, till this day, continues to advocate for mental health reform. I think that's wonderful on his part, I do, because he 100% believes his wife was mentally ill. You know, and maybe she is. Let me pull up this from the district clerk's office. Hang on a minute.
Well, I think there was, I think it was Carol who talked about environmental factors. If I remember right, didn't they live in like a mobile home or a very small area with all of those children, and she was with those children every single day, all by herself, if I remember with her.
I'll tell you what we have here, and this is Dr. Todd Grondin, and I have always really liked him. Well, actually, there's something. Killer mom Andrea Yates, who drowned her 5 children, gets a chance to go free. Let's watch this one right here. This is going to be full credits of Long Crime. So y'all hang on just a second.
She felt like she.
Let me get this set up, and we're going to watch Long Crime on their story about Andrea Yates. Yeah, and you're right. She was with those children all the time. And I believe that she did have some postpartum depression. I do. Okay, Long Crime. Here we go. All right. And this is going to be used under fair use. Thank you, Long Crime, for your excellent work. I think this is a good one to use in this case, because this case has a long history and a lot of things that went on. So here we go.
We had this dilemma of, I love my children, and yet if I don't kill them, I am essentially sentencing them to this eternal damnation.
The tragic case of Andrea Yates still shocking to the world decades after her gruesome crime.
I mean, it just was such a shock, I think, to everybody to see this mom, who everybody really described as super mom, and, you know, the loss of her 5 children, the fact that she drowned them.
After drowning her 5 children, the Yates case opened up the conversation about postpartum psychosis.
She was saying things that didn't make any sense to anybody else. She was hearing voices. I mean, she was not in a position at this point in time to parent her children. And yet she was left alone unsupervised.
She spent nearly 2 decades.
Okay, Cinderella says, yeah, in my opinion, they ignored her symptoms. And this is the very first case that I remember ever hearing about a postpartum depression as a reason for anybody to take children. I mean, you know, I was all of, I was all of 20 years old when this happened. And that's the first time I ever really understood anything about that. And Rusty insisted that she was severely mentally ill, and he supported her insanity defense 100%.
My question is, if she was experiencing postpartum psychosis and all these people saw all of these things she was doing, why the hell did anyone or someone not step in and do something and protect those babies?
That's right. Why didn't they?
I mean, like, they're just going to watch her say all these crazy things and do all these crazy things and go, oh, well, she can take care of those kids. Why? I mean, that just blows my mind. Blows me.
I've never understood why the mother-in-law, the husband, or her family, why nobody noticed that what she was saying and doing was not making sense. Are you telling me she was cooped up 24/7 with these kids and nobody was ever there?
Well, they just said people saw all of these things she was doing. So who are these people and why did they just think? I mean, I suppose you have to play devil's advocate. You probably never ever expect someone to murder all of their children. So even if you see something like that, you're not thinking, "Oh my God, she's going to harm these kids because of what's going on." Now, maybe today, after we've seen all of these cases over the years, it might trigger a little bit more concern, but still, somebody do something to help with her mental health if she's struggling that much where people can see that she's struggling.
I've often wondered. Now, listen, the Johnson Space Center, or NASA, as most people know it, is well known, great insurance. They take care of their employees. And even after she did this, he continued to work there. Everybody rallied around them and supported them. Now, as far as Andrea Yates goes, medical experts and forensic psychiatrists universally agreed on her profound psychiatric state, which ultimately altered her legal accountability. Okay, her official diagnosis was postpartum psychosis, a rare severe form of postnatal mental illness that causes a complete break from reality. She's got schizophrenia, which is a chronic brain disorder characterized by delusions and hallucinations, and severe major depressive disorder accompanied by intense suicidal ideation and multiple prior suicide attempts. Multiple prior suicide attempts. But yet she's left alone with these children all the time.
And yet they continue to have more children.
Right.
Why wouldn't you stop having children at that point?
That's a good question. Why did they? Was there some kind of, in this case, was there some kind of religious factor
exactly.
in her
Get
case?
out of my head. Get out of my head. We said religion at exactly the same time.
Okay, let's look for religious factors in Andrea Yates' case. Now, boy, when they start using religion as the reason for having all these children, you got to think there's something else going on there too. Look, you got the Duggar family, now we got the Ohio 16. There's so many more. Wasn't she also being treated for postpartum? Yes, she was also receiving treatment. Yes, but it's like for some reason, whatever this was, just did not do enough for her. And I think children. Let's see.
I think postpartum issues were very new at that time. I don't think there was a lot.
Don't think we had enough information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
there wasn't as.
Let me say, with Cinderella says, in my area, there was a man and wife that couldn't have kids, so they went to their church and they adopted 15 kids of all ages from Africa. Now, Kenny says, I'm shocked that they didn't try to hold a husband somewhat accountable for this. Now, there is a religious factor in the Andrea Yates case. They had extreme Christian doctrines became the primary framework for their severe postpartum psychosis and ultimate legal defense. The intersection of her psychological unraveling and an insular apocalyptic ideology, which who else does that remind us of? The apocalyptic ideology completely shaped her tragic delusion, right? But nobody, boy. Now, let me tell you which preacher they followed was a guy named Michael. Well, I know I'm not saying this right. It's Woroniecki. Now, this is who they followed, and this was the long-term followers of this independent traveling street preacher named Michael. I'm just going to call him Michael W. In his doctrine, he preached a highly aggressive fire and brimstone apocalyptic messages focused on sin, impending damnation, and the spiritual corruption of modern life. So his teachings emphasize strict traditional biblical patriarchics where the women are expected to be completely submissive to their husband, reject modern medicine, and bear as many children as possible to raise a righteous lineage. Hear that? The righteous lineage. Now, under these intense spiritual expectations, the Yates family lived a highly isolated lifestyle, which included residing out of a converted, living out of a converted motor bus for a period of time and homeschooling their children. Now,
That's
forensic
what I
experts
thought.
know. Go ahead.
I thought they lived in like a motor home or a mobile home or something that was extremely small. I remember that.
Yeah. Now, let me get back on track for just a minute. So,
Sorry.
out of this converted motor bus for a period of time and homeschooling their children, forensic experts noted that this high pressure environment severely exacerbated Andrea's early psychiatric vulnerabilities, delusions of demonic possessions. As Andrea's untreated, okay, she was not on medication, okay? They were against medication. Here we go. This is something I was not clear about either. As her untreated postpartum psychosis deepened, her mind twisted. There was text into a literal horrifying reality. This is some stories from Reddit as well. The Jezebel poem had mailed a their preacher had mailed a newsletter to the family containing a poem condemning the bad habits of modern mothers, asking what becomes of the children of such a Jezebel. So you can see what he's setting in her mind right there, who had structurally corrupted her children's souls. And then it comes back and talks about the 666 friend. She suffered from severe tactile and visual hallucinations, including believing that the television was speaking directly to her and physically tearing out her own scalp because she was convinced that the biblical marking of the beast, 666, was physically branded into her skin under her hair. Okay, think about that, guys. This is catastrophic to that family, really. So in her defense, medical experts identified her specific manifestations as a psychosis, and I know I'm going to say this wrong, guys, but it is cacodemonomania. Cacodemonomania. Okay, cacodemonomania, a clinical condition where a patient generally believes they are possessed by a literal demon or Satan himself. The justification for this tragedy, so this is what they're saying. Andrea Yates did not kill her children out of anger or hatred. She did so out of deeply psychosis or psychotic distortion of maternal protection fueled by her religious fixations. I'm not shocked by this, really. Now I'm not shocked by it. She truly
Well, if that's the case, if they're taking it to religion ways, then that takes the postpartum psychosis out of it.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, as far as I see
it the same way. I mean, she truly believed all of this. When you think about this, she had a psychotic.
People that believe all of that stuff that aren't experiencing postpartum psychosis.
Right.
There are people that believe that every single day of the year, and they're perfectly fine as far as, oh, look at Lori. Lori believed all that crap.
Look at Lori. Let's look at Lori Vallow. No, she didn't. Yeah, listening while working on a gift. Oh, how sweet. Okay, Carol, thank you. Yeah, this is kind of a listening thing. We're not going to show anything you really need to look at. We're just going to talk about these different cases and what happened in these cases and how the support starts, but then what happens. See, I think it's because here's what I'm going to say about it. And I don't know everything and I don't claim to know everything, but I think in a lot of these cases, had these men supported these women before they did something like this better, maybe they wouldn't have done something like this. I don't know. But, we weren't there, so we don't know. But it seems like you're going to run up there and support, and then you're going to leave. But where were you before? And I'm not blaming the men. I'm not blaming the men at all. I'm not. I'm just saying that there's something so weird and wrong that they get so far, right? I mean, if Mr. Yates knew she was having these, was he having the same thing? Did he believe exactly the same thing? Did he think there was something wrong with her? I don't know, Let's finish reading this real quick, and then we'll go back to watching that story. She did so out of a deeply psychotic distortion of maternal protection fueled by her religious fixations. She truly believed that. She thought that the devil was coming to take them. Okay, so she saved them by taking them out before the devil could come and take them, right, Kim? Is that what? Yeah, I think this is what Kim's is talking about right here. And yeah, I can see where her warped mind would absolutely think that. She truly believed that she was so spiritually broken that her children were doomed to burn in hell. Thank you, Kimmy, you're right. doomed to burn in hell because of her parenting. In her mind, the only way to save their souls and send them to heaven was to end their lives before they reached the age of accountability where they could actively sin. Now that's really, they lose their life because their mother is so ill. Wow. Now, she was tried in 2002 and she was retried in 2006. Now, during her retrial is when all this information came out about this ideology with the religion and the audio tapes and pamphlets and all these things that she was studying every day about religion, etc. So this is what they used to get her in the second trial to get her off and not, and anyway, she ended up getting insanity. She became insane. She was insane. So let's watch this for a second and then we'll come back. Hang on a second, guys. It's so interesting, really. It's sad.
In treatment, coming to terms with the tragedy.
She oftentimes watches movies or home movies that have her children in there, that she'll go look at old photos.
But now, more than 20 years after the shocking crimes, Yates could be released. But she's the one putting that option to a halt.
I think she likely feels like that's the best place for her. That it's a comfort for her. It's the security for her.
The story of Andrea Yates came to prominence almost immediately after June 20th, 2001, the day she killed all 5 of her children. Forensic psychologist Dr. Joni Johnston says she's followed the case since then.
I was just really, interested in this case, horrified by it, saddened by it. I mean, it just was such a shock, I think, to everybody to see this mom who everybody really described as super mom, and the loss of her 5 children, the fact that she drowned them. I mean, and I think it really did bring to the forefront this whole issue of postpartum mood disorders and understanding what that meant, and the whole issue of responsibility and what does that mean, criminal responsibility and all kinds of things. So I think it really did, in such an unfortunate and tragic way, start a conversation that I think is ongoing and was really important.
At the time of the murders, Yates was living in the Houston suburb of Clear Lake, Texas. Her husband, Rusty Yates, worked at nearby Johnson Space Center, while Andrea Yates stayed home with their 5 children: 7-year-old Noah, 5-year-old John, 3-year-old Paul, 2-year-old Luke, and 6-month-old Mary. I think we have to talk about the postpartum aspect when we're talking about this case, because it really goes hand in hand with what eventually happened.
Look how cute. So, I'm going to stop right there. Look how cute they were.
Beautiful babies.
And they were beautiful. And Kim says, yeah, Rusty still supports her to this day, even though they are divorced. Yes, he is still a real strong proponent that mental health needs to be looked at. Here's the thing about her. She had prior hospitalizations. She was for multiple times following her 4th and 5th pregnancy for severe depression and suicide attempts. They knew that she was having issues. She suffered from postpartum. We know that. And there were medical warnings. Her treating psychiatrist, Dr. Mohammed Saeed, had previously warned the couple that having a 5th child could trigger another severe psychotic episode, but she became pregnant shortly after. Weeks before the tragedy, Dr. Saeed instructed her to taper off her antipsychotic medications. I mean, she did not act out of malice or anger. It was driven by the profound religious delusion she believed she was possessed by Satan. See, and I kind of understand that now, and I believe that the second trial was correct. I think that she was insane, and I do believe that she should have stayed in a mental hospital. And she's even telling us that she is afraid to get out. I think that's a very important statement by her. It is heartbreaking that she drowned those babies, Kimmy. It is heartbreaking because somebody would have taken them to help them. Anybody, a family member shoulda, woulda, coulda is always what's said, right? So I just think, I think that she has a self-awareness now that maybe she didn't have back then, and that might be why she's afraid to get out. But let's keep listening on Law and Order. Very good content right here. Thank you.
Can you explain that to me a bit, maybe possibly what was going through Andrea Yates's head as she was going through with these murders?
One of the saddest things about this case, is that there were so many warning signs. I mean, and I'm not talking about subtle warning signs. I mean, she had just verbalized that she was afraid she was going to hurt somebody. She had attempted suicide many times. Her psychiatrist had said, please don't have any more children. So she had, even before she had her first child, she had a history of bulimia, a history of depression. And we know that if somebody has a pre-existing condition, although I don't think it was formally diagnosed, but this came out later, that she talked about suicide when she was 17 to a friend. So there was a kind of a predisposition to depression. And then as she had more and more children, and it's not uncommon.
Johnston says some amount of postpartum depression can be normal for mothers.
We all hear of the baby blues. So there's a normal level of kind of dysphoria that happens after a baby. The hormones are flying all over the place. There's all the stress of a newborn, as wonderful as it is. You're sleep deprived and all that. But we didn't have a lot of information about postpartum psychosis, which is the rarest form of postpartum illness.
That rare form of the illness, postpartum psychosis, is what experts determined Andrea Yates suffered from. And as Johnston points out, there were some pretty clear warning signs paired with severe symptoms.
It was very, very clear that, particularly after her fourth child, that she was psychotic. You know, she had delusions, she had hallucinations. And at that point, her doctor said, please don't have any more children. And for whatever reason, she and her husband decided that they could handle it. Or I think her husband was driving that. At least that's what it appears from everything that's been said publicly. And, after she had her fifth.
I don't think it's really her husband driving it. It was their religious beliefs driving that you should replenish the world, that you need to have children as many as you can, right? They say that she's still being treated and is very remorseful for what she has done and dedicates all the things that she makes to charity. And that's wonderful. Thank you, Kimmy, because I didn't know that either. So she is very aware, and that's great. That's great, because we have so many others who do not give a crap about what they did, and they will stand in prison today and still act like they are not guilty and refuse any type of treatment. Letitia Stouch. Okay, let's keep watching, because we've got 4 more of these that we're going to talk about.
Child, which was relatively soon after she had her fourth. She developed hallucinations. She heard a voice telling her to get a knife. She developed delusions. She thought that she was possessed by Satan. She thought her children were going to go to hell if she didn't save them, that she needed to kill them while they were innocent, because if she didn't, then they were going to be eternally damned. And so the really sad part of that is that her delusions completely match what she ends up doing. So she was basically in the mindset that she was in. She felt like she had this dilemma of, I love my children, and yet if I don't kill them, I am essentially sentencing them to this eternal damnation. And she really felt like she was the cause of all of this. So not only was she going to kill her children and they were going to go to heaven and be safe from her, but she was going to get the death penalty probably for doing this, because she was aware that it was illegal, even though she felt very convinced that this was the morally right thing to do. And so she would be taken care of as, as somebody who was possessed by Satan. Her darling children would go to heaven. And this was the best solution at the time that she could think of.
On that day in 2001, Yates filled up the bathtub with water and proceeded to drown her children. First Luke, then Paul, then John, and finally baby Mary. At this point, 7-year-old Noah saw the baby in the bathtub and tried to run off, but Yates wrestled him into the tub and drowned him too. Yates put the 4 youngest children on the bed and covered them up with a sheet before calling 911 repeatedly.
And then we're talking about with Andrea Yates, which again really only affects me.
Now, she calls 911 herself. Thank you, Kimmy. Yes. After putting them in the bed, that's so sad. She calls 911 herself. She is very aware that she has done something wrong, right? That's so different than what you expect them to do. You don't expect them to be the ones calling 911. You just don't. Now, let's talk about Rusty for a minute. He lives a relatively private life in Houston, where he continues his long-term career as a computer engineer at NASA Space Center, which is a wonderful place. He does still appear in public. In 2026, he was in the docuseries Rusty Broke His Silence by participating extensively in the January 2026 HBO Max and Investigations Discovery, The Cult Behind the Killer, Andrea Yates story. In it, he details how street preacher Michael W., I don't say his name right, radical religious doctrine targeted and fundamentally unraveled his family. Now, he is all about postpartum legal advocacy, and in July, he spoke out on the News Nation's Kumo to discuss the criminal case of Lindsay Clancy and the Massachusetts mother accused of killing her 3 children. He emphasized that the structural parallels to Andrea's case, arguing fiercely that the legal system must treat acute postpartum psychosis as a severe medical emergency rather than a typical criminal act. Good for him. I'm so glad that that is what he is doing about this. I have not seen this docuseries, but I think I do want to watch it. Now, for time's sake, we're not going to watch much more of this because we have 4 more cases that I want to talk about. And we've been on an hour already. I mean, when you start talking about these things, it just brings out so many thoughts, feelings, and really misunderstandings, because the way we see the world, but because we've never been in that type of situation, or let me say, most of us have never been in that type of situation, we have a really hard time understanding it. But so let's go on to the next case. Now, this is kind of a weird case, and it's from 2018, and I think you probably never heard about it. Tranyelle and Cliff Harshman out of Wyoming. Now, Tranyelle Harshman, her victim was her 5-year-old daughter, and she used blunt force trauma. Now, Cliff, in the end, oh yeah, fire and brimstone is not what religion is supposed to be about. That is right. It's supposed to be love. You're right about Cinderella. This fire and brimstone stuff is really, it's really just an adaptation of the Bible that's really not even correct. It's an extreme preachings that if anybody can show me in the Bible where it says fire and brimstone, please do, because I could be completely wrong. I don't know every quote in the Bible. I can't quote you the Bible like some people can, but I don't believe it was ever really about hell. You know, I don't think that's the whole thing was about hell. But anyway, thank you. So okay, her husband's name is Cliff. Cliff asked the court for leniency, and she said she was mentally unstable. Now, this is over in Wyoming. Now, I'm going to pull up something over here. It just makes you so sad when you hear about these cases, because you're going, how in the world does this happen? How do people not see things and stop it before it can happen, right? So let's pull her up. Go ahead.
I mean, I think we've all had times in our lives where we've all felt mentally unstable. I mean, I know I have. There's never been a time in my life when I felt that way that I ever considered killing one of my children. So that's what just really, I don't know it. I can't understand it. As much as I want to understand it, I can't.
A grieving father has defended his wife after she killed 3 of her 4.
Whoops. Now, there's a little bit more to the story, because let me explain this. Okay, so when I decide to do these lives and stuff, I'll go pull up what information I can. But if there's a video, I don't watch it. I watch it cold with you guys, so we all get the same reaction, so we can actually talk about it instead of me talking about it ahead of time. So in this one, we're going to find out, because this is about the husband defending her, we're going to find out something that's not really mentioned over here in what I was able to pull up today. Okay, so hang on. Let me give full credit to, this is for,
a grieving father.
Let me see who did this. I got to figure it out. I'm sorry. I don't see the name of it. Oh, News for Reno. Okay, so this is going to be credit for News for Reno. And we're going to play this little short, and then we'll move on with it. So credit to News Reno. Yeah. It's News for Reno. That's what it is. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Put this up here. We're going to use this under fair use. I didn't spell it exactly right, but that's okay. Let's just move on with it. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Go.
Past kind of change between defense calling them who asked for the hearing versus me. I'll defer to the court, but I'm fine with it.
All right, hang on. Is that the right one? No, that's the wrong one. That's Susan Powell. Damn it, it's the one before.
A grieving father has defended his wife after she killed 3 of her 4 children before taking her own life. Cliff Harshman revealed his wife, Tranyelle, had been battling postpartum depression after she fatally shot their 2-year-old daughters, Brooke and Jordan, in Byron, Wyoming. She went on to kill his stepdaughter, 9-year-old Braley, while his other stepdaughter, 7-year-old Olivia, is fighting for her life in a Salt Lake City hospital. Despite the heartache, the grieving father urged the public not to rush to judgment, revealing that Tranyelle was battling post-traumatic stress disorder and postpartum depression. He said, "People don't understand how mental illness isn't just a willpower thing. It's chemical imbalances in your brain. It's damaged pathways in your brain. She was an incredible mom, and she loved those kids."
So she took out 2 of the 4 children, and there is a gun involved, which is something I did not know. All right. So, and he is trying to tell the court that he understands this is not just as simple as we all think it is. And you almost feel sorry for these men, because they're like, what could I do different? But really, what could they do different? In some of the cases, there could have been a few things, but in some of the cases, not. I mean, very confusing. Let's keep watching. And this is pretty good story right here. Here we go.
A grieving father has
no,
defended
that's the
his
end of that
wife
one. Let's
after
go
she
back.
killed 3 of
All right. So let's find another one on her.
But if you're that, okay, this is where my brain is.
Mm-hmm.
If you're that big of an advocate for the fact that, say, Tranyelle, was mentally ill, then obviously he
At
has
1:30
seen
p.m.,
a lot
mother
of things going on in the past that made him think that. So if you had seen all of those things happening, why in the hell, again, did you allow that woman to care for the children?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I know economic factors have to enter into it, because she was probably a stay-at-home mom. So who else is going to watch the children? And like, again, they probably never suspect that she's going to kill the kids. But again, they're so certain that this has happened because of what they've seen, but nothing's been done. I mean, is there no one that they can reach out to? Hey, can you check in on the kids, or can you check on her? Or can you watch the kids for a week so I can go get her help? Was there no options whatsoever other than just to let the woman continue to care for the children?
Yeah, that is a good question. I wonder about that too. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
I
just I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people don't have the support, the family support, the friend support, and it may just be them and the children. I understand that, but there's gotta be something, if you're that concerned, that you can do to protect your children.
But see, if you're missing every red flag, like if you're in a situation where you've missed every red flag. Now, in this case, I don't think that's the case, because he's actively talking about she's mentally ill. You don't understand, right? I'm sorry, but he didn't know she was mentally ill, right?
I know, Kim Holmes. It appears by what he's saying that he knew. If he's such a big advocate for this, he obviously knew. So why didn't you do something? I mean,
why did you keep having children with this woman?
Why did you allow her to watch your children, I mean, in this case, I mean, it was hard for us to know if the stepchildren lived with them, but at least protect your stepchildren. Don't have your other children come to the house if the wife you have now is not mentally well enough. Why would you at least protect those children if you could? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Now we're going to watch this other little story on this same, it's on the same case. And this is, let me see, mom shoots her poor daughter. Is this the right one? Hang on, guys. You know, sometimes I get a little confused because I start pulling this stuff up. All kinds of things come in. So let's listen for a second, because this is where somebody shot 4 children. I hope it's not the wrong one.
911 to report that she had just shot her 4 daughters.
It is.
And that she was about to do something unthinkable.
Tonight, we are learning new details about a Byron, Wyoming woman who shot and killed her 4 children.
17 years. 17 years at the sheriff's office and working crime scenes, and you don't ever expect anything like this. Going home, I went back to the one with the girl who was actually still alive in a minute.
He is the right case. Okay. Thank God.
That's her. Stood there with her till the MS.
You're doing fine.
It took her continued first aid.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophie, and today we're going to take a look.
This particular video did have a trigger warning before it allowed me to click on it, so I'm just going to let y'all know ahead of time. It might say or show some things that might bother you if you're sensitive. So just letting you know. Okay, here we go.
Another horrible case with you. Tranyelle Lindsay Copland had always been a fighter. Born on June 26, 1992 in Powell, Wyoming, she grew up in a large, close-knit family with countless siblings who adored her free spirit and determination. When Tranyelle first married Quinn Blackmer, it seemed like she had found her happily ever after. The
the couple welcomed 2 beautiful daughters together, Brady Shay and Olivia Elaine. But like many marriages, theirs began to unravel under the weight of unspoken grievances and incompatible dreams. By early 2020, divorce papers were, and Tranyelle found herself navigating the treacherous waters of single motherhood. Meanwhile, across town, Cliff Harshman was living his own quiet existence. He had known Tranyelle back in their Powell High School days, though she was a couple of grades older, and they had never been close. In fact, Cliff admitted with a rueful laugh that he had been the ornery type that people warned others about. But time has a way of changing people, and by 2020, both Tranyelle and Cliff were different versions of their teenage selves. Fate intervened in the most unexpected way. Cliff was recovering from COVID at his cousin's house, so weak that the only thing he could keep down all week was tequila. When his cousin's girlfriend brought a friend over, that friend turned out to be Tranyelle.
So weak that all he could keep down was tequila from having COVID. Okay, now listen, y'all, that seems very strange. I don't understand it, because if you had COVID and you were extremely sick, how are you holding down alcohol?
Yeah, tequila's like ginger ale. I mean, come on.
Right.
Okay. I don't drink tequila when I have the flu.
Okay, there's something weird about this statement, but we're going to go on with it. Just had to bring that up.
She greeted him with a simple hug and asked, "Hi, how are you?" But something at that moment sparked an instant connection that neither could deny. Their courtship was swift and passionate. Despite the complexities of Tranyelle's ongoing divorce and her 2 young daughters, Cliff embraced not just Tranyelle, but her entire family. On July 26, 2020, just months after they reconnected, Tranyelle and Cliff exchanged vows in Powell, Wyoming. But this wasn't just a love story between 2 people finding each other again. It was the beginning of a blended family that would soon face challenges no one could have anticipated. The early days of marriage brought both joy and unexpected heartbreak.
But okay, now here's something weird about this particular story. They only knew each other for a few months after reconnecting, after not being friends, and really not close friends in high school. But okay, what do they didn't really rekindle something. They just kind of got together, and in just a few months, they actually get married to each other. Well, what about your children? I mean, apparently, is this the case where they both had children from before? I mean, this is so irresponsible right here. The beginning of this story is completely irresponsible. Here we go. Sorry.
In 2021, Tranyelle suffered a miscarriage that left deep emotional scars. The loss was devastating, but she and Cliff found solace in their shared grief and determination to build a family together. Hope returned in February 2022 when Tranyelle gave birth to their first daughter together, Brooke Celine Harshman. She was everything Tranyelle had dreamed of.
A beautiful child.
A perfect, beautiful baby who would complete their family. But Brooke came with challenges that no one had anticipated. She suffered from severe food allergies and refused to nurse, creating constant stress and worry for her new mother. What should have been the happiest time in Tranyelle's life slowly transformed into something much darker. The sleepless nights, the constant worry about Brooke's health, and the overwhelming responsibility of caring for a difficult infant began to take their toll. Tranyelle found herself sliding into postpartum depression, a condition that would grip her with relentless intensity. Within weeks of Brooke's birth, Tranyelle discovered she was pregnant again. Jordan Basil Harshman would arrive when Brooke was barely walking, creating a household with 4 children under the age of 10.
Wow.
The pressure was immense. As Jordan grew, Tranyelle's mental health continued to deteriorate.
Oh, I'm going to stop right there for a second. Because we have to do fair use here. Stop talking 2 minutes, but that's a beautiful child. Look right there. So she had a very young baby and became pregnant again. That's a lot of pressure. You got one over here that's not drinking, breast milk. It's got a lot of allergies. She ends up pregnant again. She's going to have these. And 4 children under 10 years old, that is hard. That's very hard. But that's not an excuse to take anybody out. I mean, oh my gosh, we got to get into this one, figure out what happened here. Hang on.
She began experiencing claustrophobia and overstimulation while nursing, symptoms that compounded her existing depression. But her struggles went deeper than postpartum depression alone. Tranyelle was also battling post-traumatic stress disorder from an undisclosed past event, creating a perfect storm of mental health challenges that seemed insurmountable. In hindsight, the clues were there, but nobody could have imagined where they were leading. The family tried everything to help Tranyelle find her way back to the light. She underwent various treatments over the years, desperately seeking relief from the depression, PTSD, and postpartum depression that had become her constant companions. Her medical team prescribed different medications, adjusted dosages, and explored alternative therapies. Among the treatments was ketamine, a drug typically used as an anesthetic, but increasingly prescribed off-label for treatment-resistant depression and PTSD. Though the FDA had not approved ketamine specifically for mental health disorders, many doctors had begun using it as a last resort for patients who hadn't responded to traditional treatments. Tranyelle was also prescribed clonazepam, commonly known as Klonopin, an anti-anxiety medication used to treat panic disorders and epilepsy. The drug's sedative properties could help.
Now, she is taking, did I hear ketamine and this drug together? That seems a little much, doesn't it? I mean, I don't. Okay, let's go back over here. Okay, we'll just let it play for a minute, and then I'm going to tell you something else about it. Here we go.
Help calm her racing thoughts, but it came with serious side effects, including paranoia, suicidal ideation, and impaired judgment. Cliff watched helplessly as his wife cycled through treatments, medications, and therapy sessions. He later told reporters that these medical interventions were Tranyelle's last grasp at the rope to hang on. He desperately wanted people to understand that mental health treatment worked for many people, but for Tranyelle, nothing seemed to provide lasting relief. The family's struggles extended beyond Tranyelle's mental health. Cliff's work in the fluctuating natural gas industry was erratic, creating financial instability. Over the winter, Tranyelle took a job in Powell, but the work environment proved toxic and created additional friction in their marriage. Perhaps most stressful of all was the ongoing custody battle with Quinn Blackmer. Though both fathers loved the children deeply, the legal proceedings created tension and uncertainty that weighed heavily on everyone involved. She brushed off the severity of her symptoms at the time, not knowing they would be her biggest mistake. By February 2025, the family had found a home they loved in Byron, Wyoming, a small town of just 562 residents nestled in the mountains. The house sat in a circular neighborhood with such beautiful winter trees, offering views of the mountains that had once brought Tranyelle peace. Cliff had been spending most of the winter at home with his family, trying to provide stability during Tranyelle's darkest period. But on February 7th, 2025, work called him back to Southern California. I was like, yeah, go back to providing, to feel successful for my family, again, he later told reporters. But it was at the wrong time. That decision would haunt him forever. The children, Brady.
Okay. Because I'm just going to tell you a little something that's in part of the story that you're going to hear, because I want you to know ahead of time. He feels responsible for her taking her life and all of her children's life. Nobody survived this incident. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Now we're going to keep watching, and then I'm going to tell you about something else that's happened in this case. Here we go.
9, Olivia, 7, Brooke, almost 3, and Jordan, 2, were home from school with the flu on Monday, February 10th. It was the kind of normal, chaotic morning that happens in every household with young children. But for Tranyelle, something had shifted. The combination of her medications, her mental state, and the overwhelming pressure of caring for 4 sick children alone created a perfect storm. Later, toxicology reports would reveal a chilling detail. All 4 children had unusually high amounts of propranolol and diphenhydramine in their systems, drugs that cause drowsiness.
Aww.
It appeared that Tranyelle had given her daughters medication to sedate them before what came next. At 1:30 p.m., Tranyelle picked up the phone and dialed 911. That phone call would be the last.
Okay, now this is the trigger warning right here. Okay, guys, trigger warning, and it's bad. Hang on.
Last anyone heard from her alive. The 911 dispatcher who answered the call that Monday afternoon had no way of knowing they were about to become a witness to one of the most heartbreaking crimes in Wyoming's history. Tranyelle's voice came through the line with an eerie calm that would later chill everyone who heard the recording. She reported, "Gunshots occurred inside my home, and my daughters have been shot." When the dispatcher asked about the status of the victims, Tranyelle replied with devastating precision. She believed them to be deceased. With methodical detail, she explained exactly where first responders would find each child. 2 children would be located upstairs in their cribs, and 2 would be located downstairs in their shared bedroom, she stated. Then came the words that would echo in the dispatcher's mind forever. "I could be found in my upstairs bedroom, and I was going to do the same to myself." The dispatcher pleaded with Tranyelle to stay on the line until help arrived, but Tranyelle's response was final. She couldn't do that, and it was too late. The line went dead. Officers from multiple law enforcement agencies rushed to the home on East Shoshone Avenue. Nothing in their training could have prepared them for what they would find inside. In the upstairs cribs, officers discovered 2-year-old Brooke Celine Harshman and Jordan Basil Harshman, both dead from gunshot wounds to the head. The scene was as devastating as Tranyelle had described. 2 innocent toddlers who had been sleeping in their beds when their mother entered their room for the last time. Downstairs, in the bedroom shared by the older girls, officers found 9-year-old Braley Shea Blackmer, also deceased from a gunshot wound to the head. But 7-year-old Olivia Elaine Blackmer was still alive, though critically injured with a severe head wound. In the master bedroom, they found Tranyelle, unconscious but breathing, with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Emergency medical technicians immediately began working to save both Olivia and Tranyelle. Both were transported to a local hospital before being airlifted to different facilities. Olivia to Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City, and Tranyelle to a hospital in Billings, Montana. Bighorn County Sheriff's Deputy Kerry Angel, one of the first responders to enter the house, would later break down in tears describing the scene. 17 years at the sheriff's office and working...
Okay. Trigger warning, sorry, I'm going to move past this because these are the kind of things I don't like to show. Y'all hang on, I'm so sorry, I did not know these were there. Just hang on a minute, we're going to move past that right there. I don't like that. You know I don't like to show things like that. Here we go. All right.
Like an eternity. Cliff's mind raced between disbelief, grief, and desperate hope that somehow this was all a terrible mistake. But when he arrived at the hospital in Billings, 12 hours after the shooting, the reality was inescapable. Tranyelle lay unconscious under a heated blanket, machines keeping her alive while doctors assessed the extent of her injuries. At 1 a.m. on February 11th, a male ICU doctor approached Cliff with devastating news. Tranyelle wasn't going to make it, but there was one final act of grace in this tragedy. Medical professionals planned to keep Tranyelle alive throughout the day to prepare her organs for donation. Her heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, and spleen would go to 5 people in desperate need. Cliff sat by his wife's bedside, holding her hand that felt searing hot from the heated blanket. I sat and wept, and I cried to God, please forgive her. Help me forgive her. He later recalled, I lost my best friend, my kids, everything. Meanwhile, in Salt Lake City, 7-year-old Olivia fought for her life with her biological father, Quinn Blackmer, by her side. For 5 agonizing days, medical teams worked around the clock to save her, but the damage to her brain was too severe.
Okay.
On February 15th, with Quinn holding her hand,
sorry, guys.
Olivia gained her angel wings and joined her sisters. Quinn, who had been locked in a bitter custody...
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop playing that right now. All right. And let me tell you what's happened since then. I mean, this is a horrible story. I mean, it is horrible. But 2 weeks after she had killed her 4 young children and herself at the Byron home in February of 2025, friends and family, this is when they had the funeral. Nearly 300 attendees, just prayed, sang hymns, and listened to memories of Harshman's and her daughters, Braley, Olivia, Brooke, and Jordan. Now, as Harshman's mother, Rhonda Copeland, prepared to say goodbye to her daughter and granddaughter, she still had unanswered questions eating at her. But Copeland was convinced that the medication prescribed to Harshman was dangerous and may have been at least in part cause of her unthinkable decisions. Okay, so it was a wrongful death, Copeland says, and so she had started talking about this before the service. Now, over the next 6 months, she followed through on that conviction. She knew she was going to do something about it. Acting on behalf of the family, Copeland filed a lawsuit against the Cody Clinic and provider who prescribed ketamine to Harshman. The suit in Wyoming's U.S. District Court alleges that the advanced practice registered nurse Kristen Block of Sage Psychiatric Services negligently permitted or directed Ms. Harshman to self-administer ketamine at home without medical supervisions or safeguards. Now, according to the suit, Harshman fatally shot her. Well, we know that, and we'll skip past that part. The filing also leaves that the door open to suing whichever pharmacy filled her prescription. Okay. She goes, I am comfortable saying that this did not have to happen. This is what Sean Olson, an attorney, says when he interviewed by the Tribune. By bringing a lawsuit like this, we are making sure that we hold folks accountable for what happened my hope is that we can prevent this from ever happening again. So out of this situation, they filed this wrongful death lawsuit. And now let's talk about ketamine and exactly what it is and why it should not be used at home. It's a very dangerous drug. I believe that it was first used for horses, but let me make sure I'm not wrong about that, because I could be wrong about that. Just a second, guys. Let me pull this back up over here. Ketamine. I thought it was done under a drip for some reason, but I could be wrong about that too. Here we go. I've never taken it, so I don't really know much about it. Here we go. Let's look at ketamine, exactly what it is. Okay. At-home treatment with ketamine says it's safe and effective. Apparently it wasn't safe and effective. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, Kimmy, it is heartbreaking what happened on this one. And it is a paralyzing story. Anyway, let's pull this back up. Let's see. Ketamine. Here we go. It is a dissociative anesthetic medication used medically for anesthesia, pain management, and treatment-resistant depression. It induces a trance-like state, blocking the N-methyl D-aspartate, the NDMA receptors in the brain. Outside approved medical settings, it is used illegally as recreation, drugs, I'm not going to say the word, okay, as a hallucinogenic and a mind-altering effects. Medical use. It has distinct applications across several medical specialties. Anesthesia, mental health treatments, pain management. How it works, because this is where it becomes really important and why maybe she shouldn't have been taking Klonopin and the ketamine together. Let me shut this door over here, guys. Sorry. My little dogs just keep coming in and out. It drives me insane. According to the Cleveland Clinic, ketamine blocks, okay, we know that. And it also, hang on, this is going to be a little bit difficult to read. This disrupts the signaling of the neurotransmitter glutamate. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say this right. Glutamate. In the context of mental health, this temporary blockage triggers a cascade that allows the brain cells to form new healthy pathways and neural connections. What? All right. It allows to new pathways and neural connections, a process known as synaptogenesis. This rapid rewiring helps improve mood and relieve depression much faster than traditional antidepressants, but it comes with side effects and health risks. The side effects of ketamine depend significantly, yeah, Kimmy, it's a lot, significantly on the dosage, frequencies, and whether it's administered in a controlled medical setting. Now, here are the short-term side effects from this. Disassociation of feeling detached from one's body. I would not want to feel that way. That had to be horrific. Distorted visual and auditory perceptions, elevated heart rate and blood pressures, dizziness, you're dizzy, nausea, and vomiting, disorientation, confusion, or temporary memory loss. Now, the long-term, if you misuse this long-term, chronically or taken in high doses recreationally, which is sometimes it's called Special K. The street drug name is Special K. You can have bladder and urinary damages, cognitive decline, which is persistent gaps in short-term or long-term memory, as well as attention deficits. Organ toxicity. Now, she was an organ donor, but she'd been taking this medicine. I don't know how long she'd been taking it, but I guess it did not affect her organs because she was still able to donate her organs, which I applaud her for that. Being an organ donator, that's very important to this world, okay? And addiction, psychological and physical dependence marked by a high potential for abuse and severe cravings. So in this situation, the husband, Cliff, he just relocated out of state, and he avoids all media. He doesn't want to talk about it, right? And I understand why he doesn't want to talk about it. He feels somewhat responsible but he had to go to work. Listen, we understand somebody has to support the family. And so this is what happened in the Harshman case. Now let's move on to case number 4. Go ahead.
And again, I don't know who said it in chat. I don't remember. Why in the hell was there a gun in that home?
That's a good question.
if all of this was happening and all of this was going on and it had been seen and we knew she was having all these problems, why the hell was there a gun in that home?
Yeah. It should have been locked up.
We'll never have the answer to that question, but you know, who knows? Had that gun not been there, who knows? I mean, she could have done it a different way, but I mean, just listening to that video that you just played, I literally got bumps all over my skin. I just had goosebumps everywhere.
It should have never happened. You know, there was so. Let me get this off of here, guys. Let me hang on. That case should have never happened. Period. None. Now,
I mean, and that was, and I can't believe that really wasn't, because that was just what, 2 years ago. That was just recent.
Okay, let me pull up this next one right quick. I'm going to get their video up first. Now, this is another strange case. Let me pull it up right quick. It's Megan and Stephen Huntsman out of Utah from 2014. Now, I had not heard of this case myself. I don't know if you have heard of it. Have you heard of this one?
I haven't. I have not.
Okay. It's not high profile or anything, so let's see what we get over here out of Utah. Okay. Mom kills 6 of her own babies. The disturbing and twisted world of Megan. Okay. Now, this is going to be full credit to, who do we want to listen to? Casual Forensics, and this is from a year ago, and it's the disturbing secrets. Well, actually, here's a court appearance. Let's watch the Salt Lake Tribune.
Do that one. Yeah, watch Salt Lake Tribune. I was going to say that's probably better.
Yeah, that's probably the better one. Okay, let's give full credit to the Salt Lake Tribune, and then we'll take a look at this case. I mean, see, some of these cases I'm talking about, people have never heard of, right? But they're out there. And there's a bunch of high profile ones, but there's also these. I really wish my little shift key would work right, but it's just not going to today. Okay. I'm sorry about that.
I have an extra keyboard. I should send it to you.
You know, I should just go buy one, right? But I'm thinking to myself, this computer is not that old. I got it right when I first started my little channel. I went out and bought one. I bought a MacBook and I hated it. So then I got this one anyway.
Do you have any? Is it a desktop? Is it
no? It's just a laptop. Yeah, it's a laptop.
I was going to say. Okay, I was going to say you could blow out, get some canned air, and blow under. There's probably something stuck underneath that key.
No, we've done all that anyway. All right.
Yeah.
So this is about Megan Huntsman, and she had 6 newborn infants that trigger warning again, folks. I'm sorry. She strangled them. Yes, Stephen said she struggled with addiction and mental illness. Okay, so here we go with Stephen as the husband, and he knew she had addiction and mental illness. Now, I have to ask the question. I've not looked at this. I don't know. But how was she not in jail? How was it that she could have strangled 6 newborn infants and nobody knew? So let's go figure this one out because it is a tragedy itself. Here we go, and this is going to be used under fair use from the Salt Lake Tribune. Here we go. Ding, ding. There we go. There we go. Oh. Okay. Okay, that's going to be kind of low, I think. Let me turn it up for you.
Mm-hmm. It was actually 2012, sorry.
Oh, there we go. Take this off so you can see.
No, I don't.
It's not showing the CC.
That's right, Your Honor.
We're requesting a continuance of 2 weeks if possible. As the court can probably imagine, a lot of evidence that is still being evidence to speak. For example, the medical examiner doctor completed the initial
Oh, this is hard to hear.
It is very hard to hear. I thought it was just me.
Your Honor, we've spoken about the idea that the state has some pretty serious accusations that they intend to bring. I've spoken with her about the delay. 2 weeks, she's concerned that that's fairly long. In the balance of interest, I think if the state is at all able to file something sooner, we would prefer that.
Sorry about the audio.
I don't think this one's going to tell us too much, unfortunately.
Right. All right. So let's go. We're going to stop this one and go to the other one because this is just about a continuance that they were asking for.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to casual forensics. So hold on just a second. I need to give full credit.
I feel like the Roe v. Wade.
So hang on, and let me get this over here. Okay, so we're going to do credit. Yeah, 6 newborns. How does this happen, Kim? I don't understand it at all. I don't understand it. So credit.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, unless she had 6 different babies that she killed them all, is what I'm thinking.
Here's my question. Was she having these babies at home, taking their lives, hiding them, and nobody knew? That is the question that I have. So here we go. Let's set this up so we can get on with it. Here we go, guys. Thank you to Casual Forensics. This is going to be used under fair use. Here we go.
Wade need to come back, otherwise we're going to have more cases like this. And due to the nature of this video, viewer discretion is advised as well as trigger warning. So Megan Huntsman lived in Pleasant Grove, Utah, which is just south of Salt Lake City, and she lived there with her husband, Darren West. And like most couples, they weren't perfect and they had their issues, but yet they made it work somehow. And all that was good until 2005 when their home was raided by the DEA. The DEA would raid their home with a search warrant because Darren was on an investigation. And after searching their home, they found party favors in their garage. Now Darren would be arrested, and a year after his arrest, he would plead guilty to 2 counts of possession, in which he was sentenced to 9 years in federal prison. And 2 weeks after he was indicted, his wife Megan was investigated. And the reason why she was being investigated is because somebody had anonymously reported her to the Utah Division of Child and Family Services. And the reason why she was reported was because it was alleged that she was playing with Olaf. Now with Megan, it was unclear if anything happened with that case due to confidentiality. Now skip forward to 2014, Darren gets out of prison and he goes back to live in that same house with Megan. Right. So a few months after getting out of prison, Darren will go ahead and start cleaning out the garage. Yes, that same garage that got him in trouble.
Okay. Now I think I do. Thank you, Kimmy. Yeah, this is that one lady. So he's in prison, and I think she's getting pregnant all these times. I think she's delivering these babies and then just,
put them in the garage.
I think this is that case. Yeah, I did not remember this case. Okay, here we go. Let's finish watching, then we'll start talking because it's terrible. Yeah, this is terrible. This is that case. Dang. Thank you, Kim. Thanks so much.
The first time. And while cleaning out the garage, he would make a grisly discovery. Because while cleaning out the garage, he would find several boxes wrapped in electrical tape. And as being curious about what was in those boxes, he would go ahead and open them up. And in each box, he found the bodies of 7 infant children. So Darren, being smart and knowing he just got out of federal prison, he wasn't going to go back, he went ahead and notified law enforcement. Police would go ahead and do their investigation. They found that each child was wrapped in a t-shirt or a towel, placed in a plastic bag, and put into a box and placed in the garage, which was the same garage the DEA had searched. Now, how your federal agency and miss all that is beyond me. So police would go ahead and question Megan, where she confessed to everything that she did. Megan had told police that she had gotten rid of her babies over a 10-year period from 1996 to 2006. She even told police that the reason why she did it was because she was playing with Olaf and didn't want to take care of her children. That would make
what?
Okay, I'm sorry. Call me stupid. I was just going to ask the same thing. What is Olaf? Oh, I'm thinking maybe it's Cocaine. Maybe. Because of snow.
Let me see.
I'm thinking
During this interview, she admitted to killing 4 children before finally stating that she did not know how many there might be, at one point saying maybe 8 or 9. She stated that she had choked, trigger warning, I'm so sorry, guys, that she had choked all these children except one who was stillborn. She had never disclosed any of these pregnancies to others or sought medical treatment during these pregnancies. And Pleasant Grove police attributed the murders to her being absorbed in her drug addiction and unwilling to handle the responsibilities of additional children. In the end, they discovered a total of 7 infant bodies one of which was stillborn, but the others were murdered. After the full investigation, it was determined that all babies were Darren West's children. Now, wasn't he in prison? Wait a minute.
Did they have conjugal visits or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very confused about this. Let's listen. Hang on. Oh, we got a lot to talk about on this one. Yeah, there is a case here in PA. Now, this is from Carol. She goes, there is a case here in PA where her babies were in the attic and has a baby in, oh, she got pregnant. She's in jail and has a baby. Oh, wow. So she goes to jail pregnant after being arrested because they found the babies in the attic. Carol, we're going to have to talk about that one too. Thank you for bringing that one up. Here we go. Let's watch for a second. Damn.
And this was called elimination of unwanted child. And this occurs when the parent no longer want to take care of a child, and so they look to eliminate the problem. This falls under unwanted child filicide. Now, what that means is when a parent feels that a child is a burden or an impediment on the desired relationship, they look for solutions on how to get rid of that child. Now, Megan, the way she would do this is that she would have home births where she would give birth to these children, and then minutes after they was born, she would unalive them. And when she was sure they were no longer part of this world, she would go ahead and wrap them up in a towel or a shirt, place them inside a box, put electrical tape around it, and then place them to the garage. Now, police felt that one of the reasons why she did this because they knew that she used to play with Olaf, and so she thought that these were children by other men. But after doing DNA tests of all the bodies, they kind of find out that all the children belonged to Darren West. He was the actual biological father of all 7 children. But at the same time, he wasn't considered a suspect in this case because we come to find out that both him, friends, and family never knew that she was pregnant. Now, during that 10-year time period, Megan only weighed 105 pounds. And so whenever she developed a baby bump, they just assumed that she just gained weight. But Megan didn't hide all of her pregnancies because at the time of her arrest, she had 3 living children. 2 were before she started her killing spree, and 1 was during.
She had living children. This is horrific. She had living children, so some of them got to live, but a lot of them did not get to live. Y'all are not going to you're never going to guess what her religious beliefs are. Go ahead and guess. Make a guess. Go ahead.
God only knows.
Church of the Latter-day Saints.
Oh, well, there you go.
She's LDS and she's killing children. Okay, there we go. This is so shocking. Okay, here we go.
Now, those close to Megan claims that she was a victim of domestic violence, but based on police records, there was never a complaint of domestic violence at the home. But the one thing that still amazed me is that there have been several opportunities for her to be caught, but somehow she managed to get through. Because somehow every time her house was searched, they never found the bodies. Now, following her arrest, Megan was held at the Utah County Jail, where she was placed on SI watch. So on February 12th of 2015, Megan, who was then 40, who had pled guilty to 6 counts of first-degree murder, she was sentenced to 6 life sentences, with 3 of them were running consecutively. She was sent to the Utah State Correctional Facility, where she is known as inmate 221913. Her first parole hearing is set for April of 2064, in which she will be 89 years old. I'll be honest with you, I don't think she probably would have been caught if her husband didn't come back from prison. So what do you think? Do you feel that Roe v. Wade should be brought back so a case like this doesn't happen? Or do you feel that people need to start using more protection so a situation like this doesn't happen? I would love to.
Now, I'm going to get off of that one. Let's come back over here for a minute. All right. Now, Carol's telling us that this particular incident happened in Cottigan Township near Fort City, PA. All right. Let me pull this up. Let's look at what she... we're not even going to talk about this much more because 64 years in prison and they all belong to her husband. That is incredible.
Yeah, and this is kind of off track of what we were talking about because this doesn't. So there's no mental illness. There's no psychosis. There's nothing. Nothing. Yeah. This is just a tragic case.
It's terrible. But you know what? I'm glad the husband, when he started cleaning out the garage, found these. But I'm glad he called the police. Otherwise,
oh hell yeah.
You know what? She would have gotten away with this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Children in the attic. Let me go find this. Children in the attic. Hang on a second. I know it's a little off track but that's okay. We have room for this one. Oh my God. Hang on, guys.
I can't imagine going through an entire pregnancy and giving birth and doing all that and then just killing the baby. I can't. I just can't.
Her name is Jessica, Mauthe. So let's see if there's something over here on not Facebook. I don't even do Facebook. Why am I saying Facebook? All right. Her name is Jessica, Mauthe. This is a woman, trial for a woman charged after 4 babies found in the home, delayed after this is from 3 months ago. This is from CBS Pittsburgh. Hold on a minute, guys. Hold on. All right. Let's give full credit to CBS Pittsburgh. Thank you, Carol. All right. Wow. This is terrible. CBS Pittsburgh. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I really wish my silly thing would be. All right. We're just going to leave it like that. Okay, here we go. Full credit to CBS Pittsburgh, and this is going to be used under fair use if it will ever go. Come on, go. There we go. Okay, now let's pull this on up and let it play. This is terrible. I did not even know about this one. Here we go. Big and the latest on this case.
Trial for a woman accused of giving birth and killing 4 babies has been postponed in Armstrong County. The judge postponed the trial after Jessica Moth gave birth while in jail. Police say Moth delivered 4 babies over 6 years at her home in Cadogan Township, put them in bags and hid their bodies. Police say Moth told them she didn't report at least one of the babies because she was on an unprescribed anti-addiction drug and didn't want to get in trouble. Right now,
look at that house. Look at that house, and I want y'all to think back about our Ohio 16. Take a look. Watch.
No new date for a trial has been set.
Damn. Let's see if there's anything else on her. Hang on a second. Pennsylvania Police on infant. Oh, this is her too. Okay, look at this house, guys. This is going to be from Long Crime Network.
A major development.
Hang on. This house looks just like the other one. Hang on. Credit Long Crime.
This one doesn't look as bad.
But it's still nasty.
Oh, yeah. But there's not poop on the floor. You use carpeting.
God. Okay, this is being used under fair use. Here we go. Long Crime. Here we go.
In a shocking case, police outside Pittsburgh have found the remains of a 4th baby inside the home that this woman was evicted from. We also have new video from the inside. What the house allegedly looked like after Jessica Mothy left. This video from the landlord who found one of the infants and called police.
My worker and I, we peeled the top back with a stick, and we seen they were just rotting, decomposing something in there, and I knew that it wasn't an animal.
We just got the criminal complaint that unveiled details that the horror that took place in this house allegedly went back years. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
Damn it.
As if this story we are following out of Pennsylvania couldn't get more disturbing at this point. We do know that she was married.
Okay, I'm sorry. What were you going to say, Sprinkle? Damn it.
I just said, what the hell is all I said.
It is what the hell. Okay, we got time for this, and we're going to watch some of it. Here we go.
To a man named Jacob Mothy, and it appears that they got married around 2017 per social media. Now, publicly, Jessica posted a lot of pictures of the 2 sons that she has with Jacob Mothy.
Okay,
they
now
are 6 years old and 8 years old right now. We're blurring their faces.
It's another one of those cases where she has other children, but she takes the life of the newborns. What's going on here? Is it because she didn't want the kids but refused to do birth control? Makes no sense. Here we go. God almighty.
Protect their identities. Now, Jacob is currently incarcerated per Pennsylvania prison records. I did find that he was sentenced in September of last year, and he's currently in state prison in Western PA. So for as long as potentially a year, Jacob's been out of the picture. And Jessica has been a single parent to these 2 boys. She and the boys lived in this house in Cadogan Township, Pennsylvania, which is northeast of Pittsburgh. It's a rural community, small town of less than 400 people. They rented the home, and their landlord told WPXI TV that Jessica's dad had passed away.
After her dad passed, the money stopped coming in. I don't know that she's ever physically paid me the rent. She would coax churches into paying the rent.
The landlord gave WTAE this video of Mothy being evicted on August 14th. 2 weeks later, this story went to a whole new level. That landlord came back to the house. He was there to change the locks and check on the home, and just look at what he found that Mothy allegedly left behind. The house was in complete disarray. You have mattresses that are on the floor. There's garbage everywhere, not to mention abandoned cats. Now, even before we talk about the dead infants, it's important to look at this and remember that there were 2 young boys living in these conditions. Their ages just 6 and 8 years old. But then the landlord made a shocking discovery, one that you just have to think would live with someone forever. Here is him telling WPXI in his own words about what he found.
3 or 4 different garbage bags, tight. That's why she's where she's at.
That landlord found a baby dead, wrapped in plastic in a closet. He then called police.
God.
Initially, police said they found...
Okay, trigger warning, because I didn't know anything about this. Thank you again, Carol. This is horrific. Just leave it. Now, you knew she gets evicted out of this house. She knew the babies were in there. She left them there. Did she think she's going to get away with this? She had to know they were going to be found. I don't even understand that. Did she care? Apparently not. Unbelievable. This is...
2 more deceased infants inside that home. They were hidden in totes in the attic of the house. I have the criminal complaint that unveils what police say Mothi told them when she was interrogated at a state police barracks near where she lived. So let me warn you before I get into this. This is very graphic. What she allegedly claims happened. And this goes back as long as 6 years.
Damn it.
Now, she gave birth to the infant that the landlord allegedly found, she says, about a year ago. She said that she was seated on the toilet when she birthed the infant, and she said that infant remained in the toilet for several minutes, and she could hear that infant making noise. She then allegedly took the infant from the toilet, wrapped a towel around its body, its face, and its head, and held the baby against her until it stopped making noises and stopped breathing. She then put the baby in a plastic bag and put the baby in the bedroom closet.
That is 100% murder. The bitch needs to get life. Do they have a death penalty there? I'm not sure about that state, but if they do, she deserves it 100%. Maybe than one baby, but there's more. Oh, God.
And that is where the landlord allegedly found the child a year later. Now, as far as the babies in the attic, the criminal complaint says that Mothi gave birth to another infant on the toilet. She says that infant on the toilet was in the water for roughly 15 minutes. And she says that she never heard that baby make any sounds. She then took the child and wrapped it in towels and plastic bags and placed the baby in the attic. The complaint doesn't say how long ago it is believed that this happened. But then the other child that was found in the attic, the third infant whose remains were found, Mothi claims she gave birth to 6 years ago. She allegedly birthed the infant into her hands in the bathroom. She says she then passed out, and when she woke up, she was on top of that infant, and the infant was not breathing. She then put the baby's body in a tote and put the child in the attic. The complaint says she never sought any help or medical attention for these children. Then there's the bombshell today, learning that police have found the remains of a 4th infant in this home. It is unclear what Mothi's story is for that child and how that child fits into the timeline that now at this point goes back as long as 6 years allegedly. All 4 of those children were found either in a bedroom or in the attic of the home. Now we are waiting on autopsy results for the babies to learn about how.
That is absolutely unbelievable. And I don't believe those babies were born. I don't believe she's sitting on the toilet and had these babies. And no, I don't believe that. I don't believe it at all. No. I don't believe her. Okay, this is very, very trigger. Oh God, this is terrible. Carol, I mean, we're talking about this is pretty terrible. Absolutely pretty terrible. We need to keep up with this case. We need to watch this case and see what's going to happen in this one, because this is bad. Very bad. Thank you, Carol. We're not going to watch all of this because we've been almost on 2 hours. We've got 2 more cases to get to, guys, for our 2 hours. Because I like to do about 2 hours because I know people have other things to do, and I don't like to keep people a long time. But I do appreciate everybody who comes to our channel and watches with us. Just, and like I always say, please share and subscribe. We really need to work on our watch hours. It's very, very important in a small town too. I mean, this is going to be a huge case for that small town, Carol. Huge. But we need to get our watch hours out. Please go watch our other lives. Watch them all the way through. Watch through the entirety so we can get our watch hours up, so we can actually get this channel monetized before it's 2 years old. That's how long we've been working at it. Anyway, Thank you. Okay, so we're going to keep watching this one. Carol, don't let me forget about this case. Please, don't let me forget about this one. But let's go to the next one that was actually part of our show, which is Dena and Michael Schlosser. It's Schlosser. It's Schlossesser. This was in Texas in 2004. And this was wife Dena. And, okay, trigger warning, I'm so sorry. This was another horrible one. Was a 10-month-old daughter. And she killed her. It says, okay. Hang on. Michael testified that she was severely psychotic, being influenced by religious extremism. Again, another religious situation where it's taken the life of a child. Now, let me go over here and see if we can find anything on this case. It's pretty old. There might not be one on YouTube, but there might be because people do go back and look up really old things. So let me see. OOSER. Okay, Dena, it looks like there might be. And I'm thinking we're going to find something to. Okay. Trigger warning. She actually amputated the arms of her daughter, says that God told her to do it, and this is why this baby died. Now, this is going to be from 3 years ago, and it's going to be from the Misery Machine, so just hold on a second.
Dena Leitner was born.
Let me give full credit to the Misery Machine. Good God.
That's a good channel. That's a good channel.
Okay, I have not seen that one before, but thank you. So we're going to do credit to the Misery Machine. And as our friend over here tells us, that this is a good channel. Please go out and watch, watch these any channel that I have shown on here. I don't have their information to drop their channel. I need to get that together. But anything that we've shown using somebody else's work, please go out and subscribe to those channels and watch their work. I think this is going to be a good one. Carol says she watches this channel. Oh, good.
Yeah, Misery Machine does a lot when it comes to kids.
Good.
There's a big focus unfortunately on crimes against children. It's heartbreaking.
Okay, let me see if I can get their right here and drop their channel link. All right, hang on. Okay, copy. Let me copy this. So we're going to copy the link. Here we go. Let's drop their channel link right here. Hang on just a second. Stop it, machine. So we can be sure to give them full credit for what they're bringing us over here. Come on. All right, here we go. Now, okay, so we're going to set this up. This is the Misery Machine. Let me go back one. And this is the story.
Dena Leitner was born in upstate New York in 19...
This is Dena Schlosser, and she, again, trigger warning, she amputated her daughter's arms and said God told her to do it. Here we go.
Right. 69 to parents Bob and Connie, who later divorced when she was just 5 years old. Dena loved to travel and would accompany her grandparents on trips to Bermuda, Florida, and the West Coast. But from a very early age, Dena didn't have it easy. During a family vacation to the Caribbean, 8-year-old Dena began trying on hats. None of them would fit, not even those made for adults. This was something serious, and this trip would soon be the turning point for massive changes.
Okay, yes, I do watch this channel a lot. I like the voices, and these two, it's a man and a woman, and they tell these stories, and they're very, very good. I like them. I forgot about them. Here we go.
In the little girl's life.
Dena was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, most commonly known as water on the brain. This is a serious condition that comes from excess cerebrospinal fluid building up in the brain. It causes massive amounts of pressure in the skull and can result in headaches, double vision, poor balance, and mental impairment. Sometimes in babies, it can cause increased head size. If left untreated, it can interfere with brain function and eventually lead to death.
Following her diagnosis, Dena would endure 4 surgeries to alleviate the fluid in her brain. Much of that time, she lived with a shaved head and was ridiculed by her classmates. She turned to her mother for stability and depended on her for affection. In total, Dena underwent 8 surgeries to implant shunts into her brain, heart, and abdomen before she was 13 years old. Although her middle and high school years were difficult, Dena joined the cheering squad for a year and played flute in the school band.
Connie later remarried. Soon the new family of 3 packed up and moved to Houston, Texas. Dena graduated from Kingwood High School in Houston in 1987. She went on to attend Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York, where she
it is
pursued a
sad.
bachelor's in psychology and intended on getting her master's. During her sophomore year, she met her future husband, John Schlosser.
Now, but look, she's in psychology. She knows how the brain works. I wonder if this is any kin to. Oh no, that's a different last name. Hang on, here we go. Let's go.
It took
Sorry.
John a year to work up the courage to ask Dena out.
Aw.
Although the two were very much attracted to one another,
So shy.
it's questionable whether or not John was in the relationship for the right reasons. The young man took his future in-laws' tuition money, skipped school, and never earned a degree.
Damn.
In fact, John went as far as to fake a graduation party, which was quickly uncovered as a sham. It should be mentioned that several publications have a picture falsely attributed to John Schlosser. This man here is not John Schlosser. This is John Schlosser. But if you know the name of this other blonde man, let us know in the comment section down below. We feel bad he's had his picture wrongly associated with this case for years at this point. Dena's mother later divorced her second husband and moved to Chicago around 1989. Dena and John soon followed her there, and in 1990, Dena's mother married her third husband, Mick McCauley, who worked as a mental health counselor. In 1991, Dena and John finally tied the knot. The two were described by Mick as very connected, very attached, in some ways, very romantic. Dena graduated in 1992 with a bachelor's degree in psychology from Northern Illinois University.
How about that?
But even with a degree, Dena also struggled with steady employment. She quit her job with Visa because a customer acted rudely towards her. She walked off during her shift at Ameritrade because a client lied to her. She quit her job at a nursing home because she didn't like the way that patients were treated. Eventually, John didn't want Dena working anymore.
However, John fared no better. He turned down employment opportunities for years if they did not fit his interest in computer science. One example being a stable and well-paying position at Hitachi's Dallas office that a close friend had set up for him. John turned down this position because he wanted to be in charge of an IT department, a position he was completely underqualified for.
The Schlossers moved into low-cost housing that Dena's birth father, Bob Leitner, helped them obtain. During this time, Dena suffered 3 miscarriages, and the couple were very worried that they could never have a child together. However, in 1995, Dena was pregnant with the couple's first daughter, Brianna, and then in 1997, their second daughter, Kelsey, was born.
In 2000, the Schlossers packed up and moved to a big house in Fort Worth, Texas, where John found a great job in the computer science field where he made 6 figures a year. Dena stayed home to take care of her 2 daughters, but things were far from ideal for the couple. Dena suffered from minor postpartum depression, which she treated with medication.
Now we're going to have to stop the fair use, but I really am enjoying the story. So she did have minor postpartum depression, not major, but minor. So I wonder which religion pulled her into, she had to do this for God. We're going to find that out in this story. But I've also pulled up some other things about her, some news clips from her trial, which I would love to watch part of that too. So hang on, guys. Here we go.
However, after she felt better from being on the medication, she was convinced she was cured and would subsequently stop taking her meds.
John eventually left his dream job to focus on a freelance consulting practice. This didn't exactly pan out the way that he thought it would, and soon the couple ran into money problems. Unemployed and with their house in foreclosure, the family packed up and moved into a small apartment in West Plano, Texas in 2002.
John and Dena grew up Catholic, but never regularly attended church. In 2002, the Schlossers began attending a fundamentalist church called the Water of Life Ministries after Dena learned of it from a neighbor. The church was run by veterinarian turned preacher named Doyle Davidson, who claimed that God spoke to him in visions.
According to his website,
God speaks to him in visions, just like God spoke to Chad Daybell. Is that what y'all getting here? Because this is what I'm getting here. And we're going to watch something else in just a minute. Here we go.
Served as a hospital corpsman in the United States Navy during the Korean War, having spent 27 months in Yokosuka, Japan. After his return to the States, he was one of 30 students admitted to the University of Missouri School of Veterinary Medicine in 1958. In August, just prior to entering veterinary school, he was rotating the tires on his car and he claimed that the presence of God fell upon him and he heard the Lord say, quote, "I don't want you to be a veterinarian. I want you to be a minister of the gospel," end quote. He did not obey God that day and continued with his plans to become a veterinarian.
Upon his graduation, Doyle moved to North Texas and established a successful equine veterinary practice.
Boy, they moved
1968 was when Doyle claimed that God moved into his life. And for 2 years, an angel of the Lord rode in his car asking when he was going to preach the gospel. In 1969, the Lord told him to sell his practice and obey him. And so, on January 2nd, 1970, the sale was finalized.
There you go.
However, Doyle was more of a cult leader than an actual pastor. To give you a better idea of the kind of man that he was, he preached that one of the victims of the infamous Columbine shooting could have been spared if she just had more faith. He also had a thing about women.
That is horrible to hear. Horrible to hear. Justice is on 20. Okay. Thanks, Carol. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you something. We might have to come back and do a different story on this because I know, Carol, we both need. See, this is what makes this hard because when you mod for other people and things and they're coming on too, you gotta kind of work it all out. But anyway, in this story, let me show you this. Hang on, I'm going to get rid of that one and we're going to come over and watch this other thing. Hang on just a second, guys. Let me turn this one off, and we're going to watch this news clip. I got to share my. This is from the actual trial. Let me show you this right here. So again, this is a religious situation where she's saying that God told her to do this. Here we go. All right.
3.5 months ago, it took jurors 9 minutes to determine Dena Schlosser was incompetent to stand trial for Calvin.
About that.
A condition her doctors now say is reversed.
Today, she understands what she's charged with. She understands who her lawyers are and what they do. She understands what the court process consists of.
Schlosser's attorney says her competency to stand trial says nothing about her sanity last November when she cut off her infant daughter's arms. And now her husband is seeking to sever all ties with her.
If we're successful in the termination, it will be as if she were never their parent. She'll have no legal right to see them whatsoever.
In his divorce petition, John Schlosser wants his wife's parental rights to their remaining 2 daughters terminated.
He loved his wife the night before this happened, but the pretty much undisputed facts are she killed one of their children.
I know that this will not be good news to her. She cares for her husband. She cares for her family.
Haynes says his client is mentally ill, making the impact of the potential loss of her family that much more uncertain.
I'm just wondering what kind of client you're going to be walking into a courtroom on a case with.
Well, that remains to be seen. We're still months away from any trial.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do because because we're gonna have to do a part 2. We're just gonna have to call this part 1. We're gonna have to do a part 2 to finish this up because yes, our good friend Justin is coming on in a few minutes, and I know I mod for him and some other people. So we might need to just do do a second part of this maybe tomorrow. Let's do this. Tomorrow we'll do part 2. We'll finish this up because there are other cases that I've pulled on this particular situation. So we're just going to leave it at that for today. Here's what we're going to say. You all have a wonderful night. Take care of yourselves. Take us on out of here, girlfriend. And we're going to do part 2 tomorrow.
And hug your babies.
You know, I say this every time, and y'all know I do. And you know the reason why. And I mean, it's because, listen, life is short. And our time with our children is even shorter. And the one thing you don't ever want to have to say is, God, I wish I would have one more time. So you go out there and tell your kids you love them every day. See you guys later. We'll see you tomorrow for part 2. Thanks. See you over in Justin's. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for coming in, everybody.
All right, let's go.